The crash of silverware against porcelain silenced the restaurant for a heartbeat, before conversations resumed their gentle hum. Noah Villanueva winced as his 6-year-old daughter Lily giggled, having just knocked over her water glass while attempting to build a tower with the sugar packets. "Sorry, Daddy," she whispered, her brown eyes wide with momentary concern before dissolving into another fit of giggles. Noah quickly grabbed his napkin, sopping up the spill before it could reach the edge of the table. "It's okay, sweetheart. Just try to be a little more careful, all right?" At 32, Noah found himself navigating the complicated waters of single fatherhood while struggling to keep his head above financial currents. 3 years ago, his wife had decided that family life wasn't for her, leaving him with full custody of their daughter and a mountain of bills that seemed to grow taller with each passing month. Mr. Villanueva. Noah looked up from his mopping to see the restaurant manager standing by their table, a crisp black suit making Noah acutely aware of his own worn jeans and the faded flannel shirt he'd grabbed from the clean laundry pile this morning. "Yes." Noah straightened, wondering if they'd have to leave. The Starlight Bistro was several notches above his usual dining establishments, but today was Lily's last day of kindergarten, and he'd promised her a special dinner to celebrate. "I apologize for the interruption," the manager said with practiced smoothness. "But I have a rather unusual request from one of our patrons." He gestured discreetly toward a corner table where a woman in an elegant black dress sat across from a man in a tailored suit. Noah frowned. "I'm sorry, but we're in the middle of dinner with my daughter, and it involves a compensation of $500, the manager said quickly, lowering his voice. "For approximately 10 minutes of your time." Lily's wide eyes looked up at him. "Wow, Daddy, that's like $1 million. It wasn't, of course, but to Noah, who'd been putting off getting his truck's transmission fixed for 3 months now, it might as well have been. Still, suspicion flared. "What exactly would I need to do?" The manager looked uncomfortable. "The lady would like you to pretend you're an old friend who urgently needs her assistance. She's apparently on a difficult date." Noah glanced at the table again. The woman was stunning, with dark hair cascading over her shoulders and a posture that radiated confidence despite her current predicament. The man across from her was leaning forward intently, talking without pause. "I don't know," Noah began. "Please, Daddy?" Lily tugged at his sleeve. "You always say we should help people?" Noah hesitated, torn between teaching his daughter about not taking money from strangers and showing her the importance of helping others in need. Plus, $500 would cover not only the transmission, but also the past due electric bill. 10 minutes, he confirmed, and then we finish our dinner. The manager nodded. "Miss Blackwell has arranged for your meals to be complimentary as well." "Who's Miss Blackwell?" Lily asked. "The lady who needs our help," Noah explained gently before turning back to the manager. "Okay, we'll do it." 5 minutes later, Noah found himself approaching the corner table, Lily's small hand trustingly in his. He'd instructed her to follow his lead and had quickly created a story about a fictional pet emergency. "Victoria." Noah stopped by the table, feigning surprise. "Victoria Blackwell. Is that you?" The woman looked up, momentary confusion flickering across her features before understanding dawned in her eyes. She was even more beautiful up close, intelligent hazel eyes, high cheekbones, and an elegance that made Noah intensely aware of every callus on his hands from his construction job. "Noah." Her voice carried genuine warmth that surprised him. "My goodness, what are you doing here?" The man across from her frowned, clearly annoyed at the interruption. "I'm so sorry to bother you," Noah continued, "but I'm in a terrible situation. My dog, Lily's dog got into some chocolate, and the vet's office is closing in 20 minutes. My truck won't start, and I remembered you know about these things. Could you possibly help us out?" Victoria rose immediately, concern etching her features. "Of course. Richard, I'm terribly sorry, but this is an emergency. Dogs can die from chocolate poisoning." Richard's frown deepened. Can't he call an Uber? We're in the middle of discussing my investment portfolio's impressive growth last quarter. This is Lily, Victoria said instead of answering, bending slightly to address the little girl. Is your puppy very sick? Lily nodded solemnly, her brown eyes wide. Baxter ate a whole chocolate cake. He's throwing up everywhere. Noah struggled not to react to his daughter's enthusiastic embellishment. We have to go right away, Victoria declared, gathering her small clutch purse. I'm so sorry, Richard. Perhaps we can reschedule. Richard stood, his expression hardening. I cleared my evening for this dinner, Victoria. Do you understand how many people would love to have my undivided attention for business advice? I understand perfectly, Victoria replied coolly. Which is why I know you'll find someone else to impress with your market predictions. Good night. With surprising swiftness, Victoria guided Noah and Lily toward the exit, her hand lightly touching Noah's back. Once outside in the warm June evening, she exhaled deeply. Thank you, she said with feeling. You have no idea how grateful I am. No problem, Noah replied, suddenly awkward now that their performance was over. That guy seemed intense. Richard is the son of one of our biggest clients. My assistant scheduled the dinner thinking it was a business meeting. Victoria rolled her eyes. It became clear within 5 minutes that he thought it was something else entirely. Lily tugged at Noah's hand. Daddy, we don't really have a dog. We can't even have pets at our apartment. Victoria laughed, a genuine sound that made Noah smile despite himself. You're a very honest young lady. That's what Daddy always says. He says we don't have much, but we always have our Han. Han. Honesty, Noah supplied, his cheeks warming. Right, honesty, Lily beamed. Victoria knelt down to Lily's level, her expensive dress brushing the sidewalk without concern. Your daddy sounds very wise, and what's your name? I'm Lily Villanueva, and I'm 6 years old. Today was my last day of kindergarten, and Daddy said we could have a special dinner because I got a gold star on my report card. Congratulations, Victoria exclaimed, genuinely impressed. A gold star is a very big deal. Noah cleared his throat. We should probably let you get back to your evening, Miss Blackwell. Thank you for the dinner and everything. Victoria stood, smoothing her dress. Please call me Victoria, and I insist on giving you the promised compensation. You too saved me from what was shaping up to be the most tedious evening of my life. She reached into her clutch and pulled out a sleek wallet, extracting several $100 bills. Noah's pride warred with practicality as she held them out. It's too much, he said quietly. The dinner was more than enough. Victoria shook her head firmly. A deal is a deal. Besides, I make it a point to always keep my promises. Lily was staring up at the tall woman with unconcealed admiration. You talk like a princess in my books. Victoria laughed again, the sound melting something in Noah's chest that he'd thought had frozen solid years ago. That's the nicest compliment I've received in a long time. Their eyes met over Lily's head, and Noah felt an unexpected connection, a recognition that went beyond their brief acquaintance. Thank you, he said finally, accepting the money. This will help with some repairs we've been putting off. Victoria smiled, and for a moment, Noah thought he glimpsed something vulnerable beneath her polished exterior. Then her phone chimed, breaking the moment. That'll be my driver, she said, checking the screen. Can I offer you a ride home? Noah shook his head. We're fine. My truck is in the lot. He hesitated, then added, I hope the rest of your evening is better. It already is, Victoria replied softly. A sleek black car pulled up to the curb. It was lovely meeting you both. Thank you again. As Victoria climbed into the car, Lily waved enthusiastically. Bye, Princess Lady. Noah watched the car disappear into traffic, feeling like something significant had just happened and ended all too quickly. I liked her, Daddy, Lily said as they walked to their truck. She was pretty and nice. Yes, Noah agreed, tucking the bills safely into his wallet. She was both of those things. What he didn't say was that Victoria Blackwell also represented a world so far removed from his own that their brief intersection felt like a dream, something to be remembered but not expected to recur. He was wrong. 3 days later, Noah was balanced on a ladder at the West Side Elementary School, fixing a section of damaged gutter. Summer vacation meant the building was mostly empty, making it easier for his small construction company to complete the maintenance contract they'd finally secured after months of bidding. "Mr. Villanueva?" the school secretary called from below. "There's someone here asking for you." Puzzled, Noah descended the ladder, wiping his hands on his jeans. Lily was at summer day camp, so it couldn't be about her. Maybe it was a potential client. He rounded the corner of the building and stopped short. Victoria Blackwell stood in the school courtyard, looking remarkably understated yet still elegant in dark jeans and a simple blouse. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and large sunglasses shielded her eyes. "Miss Blackwell," he said, surprise evident in his voice. "What are you doing here?" "I hope you don't mind," she said, removing her sunglasses. "I asked the restaurant manager where you were working. I wanted to talk to you." Noah became acutely aware of his sweat-stained T-shirt and dusty work boots. "Is something wrong?" "No," Victoria shook her head quickly. "Nothing like that. She paused, seeming uncharacteristically uncertain. "I realized after I left that we never properly introduced ourselves. I mean, beyond the charade." Noah smiled despite his confusion. "Noah Villanueva, nice to meet you officially." "Victoria Blackwell," she replied, returning his smile. "And I wanted to offer you a job." "A job?" Noah's eyebrows rose. "I already have a job. My company has contracts all over the city." "Your construction company," Victoria nodded. "Villanueva Renovations." "You have 3 employees including yourself, and you specialize in school and municipal building repairs." Noah crossed his arms. "You've been checking up on me." "I have," Victoria admitted without apology. "I'm thorough. It's part of what makes me good at what I do." "And what is it you do, exactly?" "I'm the CEO of Blackwell Enterprises. We're a development firm specializing in urban renewal projects." Noah tried not to show his shock. Blackwell Enterprises was a major player in the city's construction industry. He'd bid on subcontracts for their projects before, always unsuccessfully. "And what kind of job are you offering?" he asked cautiously. Victoria took a step closer. "We're renovating a series of buildings in the South District for affordable housing. I've been looking for a project manager who understands both construction quality and community needs. Someone who won't cut corners, but still respects budget constraints." Noah frowned. "And you think that's me based on a 10-minute fake emergency and some background research?" "That, and the fact that every reference I called spoke highly of your integrity and craftsmanship," Victoria replied. "Plus, the school principal here practically sang your praises when I mentioned your name." Noah glanced at the building behind him. He'd put in a lot of extra hours on this project, knowing how tight the school's budget was. "I appreciate the offer, but I can't abandon my current contracts," he said finally. "I'm not asking you to. This would be bringing your entire operation under the Blackwell umbrella. Your crew, your expertise, but with our resources and significantly better pay." Noah narrowed his eyes. "Why me? There are dozens of bigger construction companies that would jump at this opportunity." Victoria hesitated, then answered honestly. "Because I saw how you were with your daughter. How you balanced helping a stranger with making sure she felt secure. That kind of integrity and care is exactly what this project needs." She paused. "Also, the way you stood up to Richard without being confrontational impressed me. Not many people can navigate difficult personalities that smoothly." Noah considered her words. The offer was tempting more than tempting. It could mean financial security, better opportunities for Lily, maybe even moving to an apartment where she could have the dog she'd been begging for. "I'd need to see the contract details," he said finally. "And discuss scheduling. Lily comes first in all my decisions." Victoria's face lit up. "Of course, I wouldn't expect anything less." She reached into her bag and pulled out a business card. My direct number is on the back. Call me when you're free to discuss details. Their fingers brushed as she handed him the card, and Noah felt that same unexpected connection. He wondered if she felt it too. I should get back to work, he said, tucking the card in his pocket. Victoria nodded, replacing her sunglasses. Thank you for hearing me out. I look forward to your call, Noah. As she walked away, Noah couldn't shake the feeling that his life had just shifted course in a way he hadn't anticipated. That evening, after Lily was tucked into bed with promises of reading an extra chapter of her favorite book tomorrow, Noah sat at his small kitchen table with Victoria's business card in front of him. He'd researched Blackwell Enterprises for hours, finding nothing but positive reports about their business practices and community investments. It seemed too good to be true, which was exactly what worried him. In his experience, when something seemed perfect, there was usually a catch. Still, he picked up his phone and dialed the number. Victoria Blackwell, she answered on the second ring, her voice warm. It's Noah Villanueva, he said. I hope it's not too late to call. Not at all. I'm just finishing some paperwork at the office. Noah glanced at the clock. It was nearly 9. You work late. Occupational hazard, she replied. Have you thought about my offer? I have. It's very generous, but I need to understand exactly what you're proposing before I can make a decision. Of course. He heard rustling papers. Would you be free for lunch tomorrow? We could go over everything in detail. Noah thought about his schedule. I have to pick Lily up from camp at 3. Perfect. Noon at Riverside Cafe. It's casual and they have the best sandwiches in town. I know it, Noah said, surprised. Riverside was a working-class establishment, not the kind of place he'd expect someone like Victoria to frequent. I'll be there. Wonderful, Victoria said, and Noah could hear the smile in her voice. I'll bring all the relevant documents. After they disconnected, Noah sat for a long time, staring at his phone. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something Victoria wasn't telling him, something beyond a simple business proposal. The next day, Noah arrived at Riverside Cafe 10 minutes early, having changed from his work clothes into the cleanest pair of jeans and button-up shirt he owned. The cafe was busy with the lunch rush, but he spotted Victoria immediately, seated at a corner table with a folder in front of her. She waved him over, and Noah noticed she was dressed more casually than yesterday, still put together, but in a way that didn't scream wealthy CEO. I ordered you iced tea, she said as he sat down. The waitress said you usually get that when you come in with Lily. Noah raised an eyebrow. You're very thorough with your research. Victoria had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. I asked if you were a regular. She was very complimentary about you and your daughter. The waitress appeared, confirming Victoria's story with a friendly greeting to Noah before taking their lunch orders. So, Noah said once they were alone, let's talk about this job offer. Victoria opened the folder, revealing neat stacks of papers. The South District project involves renovating 6 buildings for mixed-use development. The lower floors will be small business spaces with affordable rent structures, and the upper floors will be apartments priced for middle and lower income families. She pushed a set of architectural drawings toward him. Noah examined them with a professional eye, impressed by the thoughtful design. These are good plans, he admitted. Practical but still attractive. That was the goal, Victoria nodded. We want places people are proud to live in, not just settlements they can afford. For the next hour, they discussed the project details, with Noah asking pointed questions about materials, timelines, and labor allocations. Victoria answered each one with knowledge that surprised him. She clearly understood the construction side of her business, not just the financial aspects. The compensation package, Victoria said finally, sliding another document toward him. This includes your salary as project manager, plus increased rates for your crew and a profit-sharing arrangement for your company. Noah stared at the numbers, certain he was misreading them. This can't be right. It's standard for projects of this scale, Victoria assured him. Maybe for the big firms, but for a small operation like mine. Noah shook his head. It's more than generous. Victoria leaned forward, her expression serious. I'm not offering charity, Noah. I'm investing in quality work and ethical leadership. Both are worth paying for. Noah studied her face, searching for hidden motives. Why did you really track me down? The truth. Victoria sat back, her fingers toying with her water glass. For a moment, Noah thought she wouldn't answer. Then she sighed. The night we met, you didn't treat me like Victoria Blackwell, CEO. You didn't try to impress me or pitch me your business or ask for my number. You treated me like a person who needed help, then went on with your evening. She met his eyes. Do you know how rare that is in my world? Noah hadn't considered how isolating her position might be. I didn't know who you were, he pointed out. Exactly. And when you found out, you still didn't change your approach. Victoria smiled slightly. Plus, your daughter is delightful and you clearly adore her. That says a lot about a person. Noah felt heat rise in his cheeks. Lily is easy to adore. She takes after her father that way, Victoria said softly, then immediately looked surprised at her own words. An unexpected tension crackled between them. Noah cleared his throat. The project sounds worthwhile, he said, returning to safer ground. Can I have a couple of days to look over everything? Of course, Victoria nodded, seeming grateful for the shift back to business. Take all the time you need. As they prepared to leave, Victoria hesitated. There's one more thing, she said. We're having a community meeting next week about the project. Local residents, business owners, potential tenants. It would be good to have you there, even if you haven't decided yet. To see if the community supports it, Noah asked. Partly, Victoria admitted. But also because your perspective would be valuable. You understand both construction realities and what working families need. Noah considered her request. When and where? Wednesday evening at the South District Community Center, 7 p.m. I'd need to bring Lily, Noah said. My regular sitter isn't available on weeknights, Victoria smiled. That's fine. There will be other children there. We're providing activities for them during the meeting. Then I'll be there, Noah promised. As they parted ways outside the cafe, he found himself looking forward to seeing her again, a realization that both surprised and concerned him. Over the next week, Noah consulted with his small crew about the Blackwell proposal. Both men were enthusiastic, especially when Noah outlined the improved pay and benefits. He also had his lawyer friend review the contract, which came back with a surprisingly clean bill of health. By the time Wednesday evening arrived, Noah had all but decided to accept the offer. The only reservation he still harbored wasn't professional, but personal, the growing attraction he felt toward Victoria and the complication that could create in a business relationship. Are we going to see the Princess Lady? Lily asked as Noah helped her out of the truck at the community center. Her name is Miss Blackwell, Noah reminded her. And yes, she'll be at this meeting. Lily beamed, skipping alongside him as they entered the building. The large meeting room was already half full, with clusters of people examining display boards showing the proposed renovations. Noah spotted Victoria immediately. She stood near the front, engaged in conversation with an elderly man. She wore a simple dress that somehow managed to look both professional and approachable, and her hair was twisted into a simple knot at the nape of her neck. As if sensing his presence, she looked up, her face brightening when she saw him. She excused herself from her conversation and made her way toward them. Noah, Lily, she greeted them warmly. I'm so glad you could make it. Miss Blackwell, Lily said excitedly. Daddy says you want him to build houses? Victoria laughed. That's right, your daddy is very good at building things. He fixed my bicycle last week, Lily informed her seriously, and he built me a bookshelf for my room. Is that so? Victoria looked impressed. He must be very talented. Noah felt his cheeks warm again. The kids' activities? He asked, changing the subject. Right through that door, Victoria pointed. They have crafts and games set up. Lily looked up at Noah with pleading eyes. Can I go, Daddy, please? Of course, sweetheart. I'll be right out here if you need me. As Lily skipped off, Victoria turned to Noah. Have you had a chance to review everything? Yes, Noah nodded. It looks good, really good, actually. Relief crossed Victoria's face. So you'll accept. I'm leaning that way. I'd like to hear the community feedback first. Victoria nodded approvingly. That's why you're perfect for this project. The meeting began shortly after, with Victoria presenting the plans to the assembled community members. Noah watched with growing admiration as she addressed concerns, answered tough questions, and demonstrated a genuine understanding of the neighborhood's needs. When an older woman expressed worry about being priced out of her apartment building, Victoria approached her with respect, explaining the rent control provisions they'd established and offering to meet privately to discuss her specific situation. Noah found himself commenting occasionally, offering the perspective of someone who'd grown up in similar circumstances and now raised a child on a tight budget. To his surprise, Victoria deferred to him several times, valuing his input publicly. By the meeting's end, most of the initial skepticism had transformed into cautious optimism. As people began to disperse, Victoria made her way back to Noah's side. That went well, she said, looking relieved. Your contributions were invaluable. You've done your homework, Noah acknowledged. This isn't just a profit-driven project. Victoria's expression softened. No, it's not. My father grew up in this neighborhood back when it was thriving. I want to see it become that kind of community again. This personal connection surprised Noah. You never mentioned that. It's not something I typically share in business settings, Victoria admitted, but it's a big part of why this particular project matters to me. Before Noah could respond, Lily emerged from the children's area, clutching a colorful paper creation. Miss Blackwell, look what I made. She thrust a paper flower forward proudly. It's for you. Victoria knelt down, accepting the gift with genuine delight. This is beautiful, Lily. Thank you so much. The lady said we should give them to someone special, Lily explained. I made one for Daddy, too. She produced a second paper flower from behind her back. Noah accepted his flower with equal appreciation. It's wonderful, Lily Bug. Thank you. Victoria stood, carefully holding her paper flower. I'll put this on my desk at work, she promised Lily. The little girl beamed. Then, with the directness only children possess, she asked, Do you want to come have pizza with us? Daddy said we could get pizza after the meeting if I was good. Noah froze, embarrassed by his daughter's impromptu invitation. Lily, miss. Blackwell is probably very busy. Actually, Victoria interrupted. Pizza sounds perfect. If you don't mind the company. Noah looked at her in surprise. Are you sure? I'm sure you have more important things to do. Victoria's expression grew serious. More important than celebrating a successful community meeting with my potential project manager and his delightful daughter? I don't think so. The sincerity in her voice silenced Noah's objections. Then, we'd be happy to have you join us. Lily clapped her hands excitedly, and the three of them headed out to Noah's truck. He apologized for the state of the vehicle work tools in the back, a booster seat surrounded by Lily's books and toys, but Victoria seemed unfazed. Where's your car? Lily asked as they climbed in. I had my driver drop me off, Victoria explained. I can call him when we're finished. They ended up at Lily's favorite pizza place, a family-owned restaurant with checkered tablecloths and arcade games in the back. To Noah's surprise, Victoria seemed completely at ease in the casual setting, laughing as Lily detailed the elaborate rules of a game she'd invented involving her stuffed animals. So, Victoria said once Lily had been given quarters for the arcade games, have you made a decision about the project? Noah took a sip of his soda. I have. I'd like to accept the position. Victoria's smile was radiant. I'm so glad, Noah, truly. There's just one thing I need to address, he continued more seriously. Working closely together could be complicated. Victoria's expression shifted, becoming more guarded. What do you mean? Noah took a deep breath. I'm attracted to you, he said bluntly. And I think you might feel something similar. If I'm going to work for you, we need to be clear about professional boundaries. Victoria looked startled, then thoughtful. You're right, she said finally. On both counts. Noah hadn't expected such a direct acknowledgement. So how do we handle it? Victoria considered the question carefully. We maintain strict professionalism during the project. No mixed signals, no personal involvement that could compromise our working relationship. Noah nodded, ignoring the disappointment settling in his chest. That sounds sensible. And then, Victoria continued, when the project is complete and I'm no longer directly overseeing your work. She met his eyes. Perhaps we could revisit this conversation. Hope flickered unexpectedly. That would be about 8 months from now, approximately, Victoria confirmed. If you're still interested then. Noah smiled slightly. I have a feeling I will be. Their conversation was interrupted by Lily's return, breathlessly recounting her arcade victories. As the evening progressed, Noah found himself relaxing more than he had in years, enjoying the easy companionship that had developed among the three of them. When they finally left the restaurant, Victoria insisted on helping Lily buckle into her booster seat, listening attentively as the little girl explained the importance of her stuffed rabbit sitting just so. Thank you for including me tonight, Victoria said softly to Noah as they stood by the driver's side door. Thank you for coming, he replied. It meant a lot to Lily. And to you, Victoria asked, her gaze holding his. Noah smiled. And to me. Her driver arrived a few minutes later, and Noah watched her go with mixed emotions, excitement about the project ahead, but also a growing certainty that Victoria Blackwell was someone who could become very important in his life, if given the chance. Over the next 8 months, Noah threw himself into the South District project. His crew expanded to include local workers, and the buildings gradually transformed from neglected structures into vibrant community spaces. Throughout it all, Noah and Victoria maintained their professional agreement, working closely together but carefully avoiding any personal entanglements. It wasn't easy. There were moments, a shared laugh over coffee, a look that lingered a beat too long, the way Victoria always remembered to ask about Lily's latest adventures that tested Noah's resolve. But they both honored their agreement, focusing on the work that was revitalizing a forgotten neighborhood. Lily, meanwhile, had developed an adorable case of hero worship for Miss Victoria, proudly telling her teachers and friends about the important buildings her daddy was fixing with the lady who talks like a princess. As the project neared completion, Noah found himself both proud of what they'd accomplished and increasingly anxious about what would come next. Would Victoria still be interested in exploring their connection? Or had these months of professional distance cooled whatever attraction had sparked between them? The answer came on the day of the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the first completed building. The event was a community celebration, with local politicians, business owners, and future residents all gathering to mark the occasion. Noah stood to the side of the small stage they'd erected, watching as Victoria addressed the crowd. She spoke with passion about community renewal and the importance of creating spaces where families could thrive. When she acknowledged Noah and his team for their exceptional work, the applause was enthusiastic. Later, as the celebration continued, Victoria found him near the refreshment table. "We did it," she said, her eyes bright with accomplishment. "You did it," Noah corrected. "This was your vision." Victoria shook her head. "A vision is nothing without people to build it." She glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. "The Oversight Committee has officially signed off on this phase. As of today, you no longer report directly to me." Noah's heart quickened. "Is that so?" "It is," Victoria confirmed, "which means our agreement has reached its conclusion." "So it has," Noah agreed, studying her face. "And how do you feel about that?" Victoria took a step closer. "I feel," she said softly, "that 8 months is a very long time to wait for a first date." Noah couldn't help the smile that spread across his face. "Where's Lily?" Victoria asked. playing with some of the neighborhood kids in the courtyard. Mrs. Ramirez is watching them. Good, Victoria said decisively, because there's something I've wanted to do for approximately 243 days. Before Noah could respond, she leaned forward and pressed her lips to his in a kiss that was both sweet and promising. When they parted, Noah saw his own happiness reflected in Victoria's eyes. I was worried, he admitted, that you might have changed your mind. Victoria shook her head. Not for a single day. Working with you only confirmed what I suspected from the beginning, that you're exactly the kind of man I've been hoping to find. Daddy, Miss Victoria, Lily's voice broke through their moment as she raced toward them. Are you getting married now? Noah choked in surprise while Victoria laughed, bending down to Lily's level. Not quite yet, she said gently, but I was hoping it would be okay with you if I took your daddy out to dinner sometime. Lily considered this seriously. Like a date. Exactly like a date, Victoria confirmed. Will you wear a pretty dress? Daddy should wear his nice shirt, the blue one. Victoria glanced up at Noah, amusement dancing in her eyes. I think that's an excellent suggestion. Okay, Lily nodded decisively, but I get to come too. Noah started to explain that dates were usually just for grown-ups, but Victoria interrupted. How about this, she proposed. First date is just me and your dad, but for our second date, we take you to that new children's museum that's opening next month. Deal? Lily's eyes widened. The one with the dinosaur bones and the star room? That's the one, Victoria nodded. Deal, Lily exclaimed, throwing her arms around Victoria in an impulsive hug. As Noah watched the two most important females in his life embrace, he marveled at how dramatically his circumstances had changed in 8 short months. From struggling contractor to respected project manager. From lonely single dad to a man on the verge of something that felt remarkably like a beginning. Later that evening, as they shared their first official date over candlelight at a restaurant far nicer than Noah would have chosen himself, Victoria confessed something that made him laugh in disbelief. You know, she said, twirling pasta around her fork, that night at the Starlight Bistro when you rescued me from Richard, I was already planning to leave. I had actually spotted you earlier, watching how patient you were with Lily, and I was trying to work up the courage to introduce myself. Noah stared at her. You're joking. Victoria shook her head, smiling. The restaurant manager approaching you was entirely my idea. I needed an excuse. So I didn't really rescue you at all, Noah realized. You engineered the whole thing. Not the whole thing, Victoria corrected. I couldn't have engineered the way you made me feel, or how much I wanted to see you again. She reached across the table, taking his hand. Some things can't be planned, Noah. Looking into her eyes, Noah felt the final piece of his heart that had remained guarded since his wife's departure finally open. No, he agreed, squeezing her hand. The best things usually can't. 1 year later, Noah stood in the garden of Victoria's family home, Lily beside him in a flower girl dress, as they watched Victoria walk toward them on her father's arm. The South District project had been completed to widespread acclaim, and Noah now oversaw all of Blackwell Enterprises' community renewal projects, a role that kept him challenged without sacrificing time with the people he loved. As Victoria reached them, radiant in a simple white gown, Lily whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "See, Daddy? I told you she was a real princess." The assembled guests laughed, and Victoria winked at her soon-to-be stepdaughter. "And every princess," she whispered back, "needs a family to love." As Noah took Victoria's hands in his, he reflected on how a simple act of kindness helping someone escape an awkward date had ultimately led him to the greatest happiness he'd ever known. Sometimes, he realized, the most unexpected beginnings led to the most perfect endings.